we've been talking a lot recently about, right, like where are your buyers at, where are your sellers at, and most importantly, what is the market doing? And I think, right, I don't care where you go. It could be Christmas morning at the grocery store, right? If people know you're in real estate, the first question they always ask is, how's the market? Right? And so being able to speak on what the market is actually doing, I think is a skill that we can all develop better and that a lot of agents don't have, right? A lot of people say, hey, how's the market? And you go, oh, it's good, right? Rates are high, inventory's down. But what does that actually mean? And so today we're going to talk about how to use inventory data to speak like an expert and show people that you know what you're talking about beyond just the surface level, right? Oh, we don't have that much inventory. Sort of, right, months of supply. How many of you guys know what this means? Right, when we say it's a buyer's market or it's a seller's market or it's a stable market, right? What does that actually mean? So months of supply measures how long it would take to sell all the current inventory at the current sales pace, assuming no listings come on the market. So this is MLS wide, all of South Central Wisconsin. For single family homes, there are currently just over 3,000 active listings. I looked at the 2025 data, and there was approximately 1,300 sales per month every single month last year in 2025. And again, this is an average because we know that, right, there's higher monthly sales in the summer, the busier markets. But for ease of talking here, we're going to just take averages, right? So to calculate months of supply, you take the number of current active listings divided by the average monthly sales to figure out how many months of supply we have in the current market. So if we use these numbers, right, we're currently sitting MLS wide at about just over 2 months of supply. And understanding months of supply tells you who has the negotiating power in every single transaction. Again, log into Paragon, the top navigation under resources, click on Paragon statistical reporting. It's the first one in the drop down. And then on the left-hand navigation, click on market statistics. It'll bring up this search box. And so you can search by months, you can search by years, you can search by specific time periods, and then further search by class. So if you want to know what is the market supply for vacant land in Sauk County, you can do that. What is the, months of supply for single family homes in Sauk, Dane, Columbia, and Richland counties, right? You can search by these parameters and it'll pull up and it'll tell you, based on your criteria, how many active listings do we have? And then you'll want to use that same criteria if you're searching for a month and go back to the previous month and see how many listings in that criteria sold. And that's how you can calculate your months of supply for whatever you're trying to do. This is a really good thing to use in your listing presentations, right? If you go into a listing presentation and you say to your seller, oh, there's not that much inventory on the market, so we don't have that much to compete with, right? That's an easy thing to throw out there. But if you back it up with the data and show them you actually know what's going on based on the numbers and the statistics provided to you, it allows you to take that next step of proving yourself as the expert. What date range should you use? It doesn't matter. You could do, if you want to know, like on a broad scale, you could do years, you could do it by quarter. If my example, right, doing a listing presentation, I'd probably go back 90 days and show like this is the active market statistics month of supply. Just whatever is kind of applicable to what you're trying to show. So this is what the universal market scale that we talk about, right? So if it's 0 to 3 months of supply, we're in a seller's market. This is where we've been for a really long time, right? There's high buyer demand, limited supply, buyers are competing, we're getting multiple offers. And because of that, right, prices continue to appreciate. When we hit that 4 to 6 months, we're in what's considered a balanced market, right? There's moderate demand and supply. This is, right, business 101. You're in your typical negotiations, prices are stabilizing. Appreciation is at, right, our normal inflation rate of 4 to 6%. And when we get beyond 6 months, and those of you that have been in the business a long time can remember these buyers markets, but there's lower demand and more inventory. So more houses to sell than there are buyers. And in this case, right, buyers have the negotiating power. The sellers are competing and doing whatever they can to get their property sold, which might bring prices down. So when we calculated, right, we're at 2.26 months of supply, which means we are still in a seller's market. And do you guys see how using these numbers and explaining it to people show that you know what you're talking about instead of just saying tons of buyers out there, not enough listings, right? But being able to explain what that actually means to people allows you to elevate yourself over other agents in the marketplace. This is kind of where we've been in the last 5 years, right? 2020 to 2022 was peak insanity. We had less than a month of supply. Homes were selling in under 20 days, multiple offers on virtually everything. 50% of sales had competing offers, right? We all remember that. 2023 is when we began to recover a little bit. The 435 homes available, that's a Dane County stat. But inventory was starting to creep up, but the market was still really tight. 2024, we saw some gradual improvement. We saw a 48% increase in inventory. We were in that 1 to 1.2 month range. Last year, right? I think you guys can all attest to this. We saw inventory grow a lot. It went up to 1,600 active listings. Average days on market went up, and expired listings went up. And now I think 2026, we're gonna tighten things back up again. We're back at that two months of supply. The median sales days is back down again to 14. And we're seeing that typical January pattern with accelerating competition. And I want you to remember that last part, right? The accelerating competition as we move into February, March, and April. Nationally, we're almost 2 times tighter on inventory. And I think this is important to realize too, because you see these big national headlines, right? There's places like Florida or Texas that they are drowning in inventory that they can't get sold. Their market is completely different than ours. But our inventory here is half the national average, making it still one of the most competitive markets in the country. So we're seeing, right, stronger seller positioning, faster sales compared to everything else. And again, when you communicate this to your clients or to people in your network, it's important that you know this and are able to tell them about it, because what they're seeing is the national headlines. But being able to educate people on what's happening here in our local market is really important to know and to understand. So, right, what does 2 months of supply mean for your buyers? It means they still have limited choices, right? There's only 3,000 homes to choose from in all of South Central Wisconsin. I think we're in 14 or 15 different counties. So in a specific price range, in a specific community, right? And you guys all know this, there might only be a handful of options at any given time. And so speed to listing is everything for buyers right now. Many of them, if they're priced correctly, they're in a good condition, they're getting an offer within 48 to 72 hours. So if your buyer is dragging their feet and waiting a week to see a house, it's likely already gone at that point. Because the competition is still there, right? We're up to almost 1 in 3 transactions involving multiple offers again. It's down from that crazy gangbusters of 2020 to 2022, but it's still significant, and it's important that your buyers understand this, that there is still competition on listings that again are priced to sell and are in good condition. That means the sellers have the pricing power. Median prices continue to grow from last year, so the buyers that are waiting for the market to crash or waiting for prices to come down, that's not the reality of what we're seeing. And so the buyers that want to come in and lowball stuff, that strategy doesn't work, because while they're lowballing, somebody else is going to swoop in and grab the house from them. And so, right, buyers can't afford at this point to wait and see. They can't wait and see if rates are going to come down. They can't wait and see if inventory is going to increase. Because as inventory tightens and buyers continue to flood the market, right, competition is going to increase. And so waiting even a month or two means 15 other clients in their same position had the same idea. And so now instead of, right, taking advantage while the market is primed for opportunities, they're now in a position where they're going to compete. And I think we talked about this last week or 2 weeks ago. It's the difference between being able to negotiate and being able to bid. So you want to put your buyers in a position where they still have negotiation power instead of getting into a bidding war. What does this mean for sellers? Right now is a prime positioning time for your sellers to get their house on the market. Right? We know that inventory is going to accelerate over the next couple months. And so right now, while we have 3,000 homes competing for buyers, in May we could have 5,000. And so if you list now, you face less competition of other listings and can sell your house quicker. They also, right again, have that pricing power. And it's pricing power when they're priced correctly. This doesn't mean sellers can throw any price tag on their house and somebody will pay for it like they could 5 years ago. This is intentional, well-aligned pricing of houses that are in good condition and priced to sell accordingly. These houses are flying off the market. And that's how you can help your seller position themselves above the competition of whatever else is on the market at the time. And again, right, if you can align your sellers on unrealistic expectations on prices, you put them in a really good position to receive multiple offers. The strongest category or subcategory of homes that are seeing multiple offers are those under 400,000 range. That's where inventory is still tightest. Still tightest. That's
Still the most tight.
Still the most tight, yeah. Yeah. Still tightest. That's the one. But those houses under 400,000, that's where inventory is the tightest and the most buyers exist. And so preparing your seller to list at its perfect price at the perfect time, right, in high demand areas will generate premium offers and multiple offers for your sellers. And again, getting them to understand that right now is the time to list because inventory is lower than it's going to be in a few months helps put them in a position to get their house in front of the market without facing increased listing competition. So what do you say to these people, right? How do you communicate this? For buyers, you can say something like, hey, we have just over 2 months of supply, so we need to move quickly when we find the right home. I can show you how we can structure offers to win in competitive situations. If they say, oh, I don't know, I want to wait for more inventory to come on. Here's what you say to them, right? We're going to need inventory to triple to reach a balanced market. We need, 9,000 more homes to come on the market if you want to be in a balanced market where waiting to see is going to pay off for you. But when that happens, you're still going to be competing with a ton of different buyers instead of negotiating with a single seller. Let's find the right home now and secure it. And you can always refinance if rates drop. For sellers, right, how do we communicate this? You can say something like, with 2 months of supply, your home will sell roughly in 14 days if it's priced correctly. Right now in our market, and this goes back to what I was talking to Brittany about, right, running months of supply on a specific city or community or neighborhood, you can say, right, we have 525 competitors right now. In the spring, we might see upwards of 800. And then, right, again, you can, I don't care, I'm going to wait until spring. Right, run the market stats for last spring. Show them historical data on what happens in our market in different seasons. And last spring, homes took 25 to 30 days with 700 other listing competitors. Right now, we're at 14 days with 526. Yeah, there's more buyers in the spring, but there's significantly more sellers. And that ratio works against you. And again, you guys, using actual factual data to back up your recommendations helps the seller or the buyer understand you know what you're talking about. And you're not just advising them on a whim because it sounds good, but you understand the market, you understand how to position them correctly to achieve their goal of either buying or selling a house. So this is what I want you to do right now. I want you to update your buyer or your listing presentations. Add a slide or a page in your presentation to show visuals of what 2 months of inventory looks like compared to balanced markets. Create comparisons, show them the actual data of where we are in the market and what competition looks like to them as a buyer or seller. And use these stats everywhere. Use them in conversation, lead with that number, that data to back up your talking points, Explain what it means to people who are buyers or sellers. And again, position yourself as the expert. There's a lot of agents running around our marketplace who have no idea what the real estate market actually looks like beyond just letting people into houses and writing contracts. But this is a professionals market. This year, I firmly believe that people that elevate themselves to experts and professionals are the ones that are going to get the business, because it's going to continue to get a little bit harder for people that don't know what they're doing. And create content around this, right? Again, get it out on social media, post it in a video, send it in an email to your clients. Make this your signature talking point. Again, most agents are just throwing things out there like inventory's still down, who wants to list their house? Become the expert by backing up your talking points with data. And again, remember, understanding months of supply shows you exactly who has the power in negotiations. At our current 2 months of supply, right, we know that sellers have the leverage and buyers need strategy. And so you're the person that can connect those two things, because you understand what's happening in the market enough to guide your buyer or your seller confidently to achieve their goals. So I want you to use this. Start putting it out on social media. Again, having conversations in your listing or buyer presentations, and watch how it changes the dynamic of your conversations. Right? It allows you to go to that next level, go just a little bit deeper on explaining why you understand the real estate market and position yourself as the person that can help them, right, take advantage of the opportunity presented to them. So if I can challenge you guys on this, if there's one number you need to know about what's happening in the real estate industry, it's not rates, it's not anything else like that, average sales price, days on market, it's months of supply. Because understanding months of supply, again, shows you understand who has the leverage in any given situation. And once you understand who has the leverage, right, you can put the right strategy in place to be the one who's winning those deals. Use it to your advantage, use it everywhere you can, and really dive deep into the statistical reporting and all the other good reports that are on Paragon or Greenlight. We have a ton of tools available to us. So use that. One more thing I am going to plug at the end of this. I sent it out, I think, last week's Monday email. But RPR, which is like what is that? I don't even know what it stands for. Residential reporting, property. Yeah. Anyways, they came out with a new mobile app, and it's awesome. It is really great for searching for properties on the fly. It'll tell you, different supply trends, different sales trends.
RPR mobile.
RPR mobile, yep. Different listings, so you can click on any of them. It'll tell you if it's active, under contract. I just clicked on this house in stock, and it told me that, oh, hey, this was in pre-foreclosure as of August of last year. Good to know. Shows you flood zones, property types, pricing tools. You can do a quick AI CMA on the fly, mortgage calculators. There's tons of really good stuff on this, and I know a lot of you have been looking for a better mobile app to use to find different data. It has public records, livability indexes, prior sales, similar properties. It's a really good mobile app, so we'll drop a link to it in the Facebook page after this. But just wanted to plug that because I saw it and I thought it was cool. So
Will that pull sold?
What do you mean?
Just active listings, or you just put in an address?
I was just searching on the map, but I think there are different things. There's a whole trends tab, so you can put in the city you want to look for, different property types. It'll tell you right here in Sauk City for single families, condos, townhouses, and apartments. We're at 2.96 months of inventory. Sold to list price is 96% down, which 96.1%, which is down almost 3% month over month. Median days, median sold prices. It shows you right on here, I don't know if you guys see it, I can't see it, but
That says
what part of the market are we in? We're still in a seller's market, right? So this app has a lot of great stuff on it, reports you can export and send to people. So again, just using the tools and resources available to us to actually understand what's happening in the market can allow you to elevate yourself over the agents that aren't willing to take the time to learn this kind of stuff. Any questions?
I liked your slide that showed the balance market, buyers, sellers. Like, I want to take that slide and create something for a listing presentation.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you could use this exact slide in your listing
Uh-huh.
presentation and then
That's
show
fun.
them, here's exactly what it looks like in Baraboo or in Lodi or whatever for whatever property type. So use the data to your advantage. And again, it helps take that emotional piece out of it because you can say, this is exactly what we're seeing. I'm sorry you think your house is worth 350,000, but it's not. It's worth 300. Here's why. Here's what it means for the market. And now you're not just advising them in a debate because seller thinks you're wrong and you think you're right. You're backing up your recommendations with data, and that's hard to dispute.
Very helpful.
All righty, Baker woke up,
Reagan?
so we got to go. Yeah.
Reagan, on the
Yep.
MLS report, and you can just call me afterwards, but what are you plugging in? Are you plugging in month, year, quarter?
So when I ran these stats, I did I think I just did January month, but I ran one on all of 2025. I was saying this to Brittany earlier, like if you're going to go into a listing presentation for a single family house in Baraboo, I'd probably run the report for the previous 90 days or 3 months to show them accurate, up-to-date information on what the market has done around the time that they plan to list.
I just did it manually a couple of days ago because I didn't know where these reports went. Now I'm like, there's the reports I've been looking for forever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I don't know if you could see my phone when I held it up to the screen, but the RPR app has a great thing too. It has a trends tab, so you can just type in, Baraboo, Wisconsin, for single family and condos. It tells me exactly we've got, 1.95 months of inventory. We're in a seller's market. Sold to list price is up a little bit. Median days is down. Median sold price is up. You know, graphs and charts that you can use to your advantage. And you can take all of those and create a report and send it out. So it's pretty slick.
Thank you.
You betcha. You guys have a great week. Stay warm, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right, thank you.